The red warning light flashed 3 times before the alarm sounded through Mars' Deep Space Monitoring Station. Jack Miller, the night shift operator, nearly spilled his coffee as he studied the readings on his screen. He blinked twice, making sure he wasn't seeing things after his 12-hour shift. "Control, this is Station 7, he called out, his voice steady despite his racing heart. "I'm picking up some very unusual energy readings from the Kuiper Belt. You need to see this." The energy signatures were unlike anything recorded in human history. They pulsed with a rhythm that seemed almost alive, but they were flickering like dying stars in the void of space. Within an hour, Captain James Walker of the Earth Defense Fleet was woken up by the emergency alert. He walked onto the bridge of the EDF Defender, Earth's most advanced spaceship, still adjusting his uniform. The large viewing screen showed a cluster of strange readings, spreading across a vast area of space. "Report," he ordered, his voice clear and firm. "Sir," his sensor officer responded, "we're detecting approximately 300 vessels at the edge of the Kuiper Belt. They're massive, sir, bigger than anything we've ever built. But they're just sitting there." Walker studied the tactical display. The ships weren't moving, at least not in any controlled way. They were drifting, slowly spinning in the darkness of space. Any signs of hostility? "No, sir." In fact, the officer paused, double-checking his readings. "They appear to be completely powered down. Life support is running, but barely." That changed everything. Walker straightened his back and made a decision. Send out a broad-spectrum greeting in all known formats. If there's anyone alive out there, they might need help. For 20 tense minutes, the bridge crew waited. Then suddenly, a response came. The main screen lit up with a strange symbol, followed by a transmission in multiple frequencies. The computer worked quickly to decode it. A voice came through the speakers, unlike anything human ears had ever heard. It was musical but filled with urgency. The universal translator, a new and untested technology, began to make sense of the words. "This is Fleet Commander Reed of the Bright Star Coalition," the voice said, the translator struggling to keep up. "We carry refugees. Our drives have failed. Urgent assistance required." Walker leaned forward in his chair. "This is Captain James Walker of the Earth Defense Fleet. We stand ready to assist. Please state the nature of your emergency." The reply came faster this time. "Our quantum fold drives experienced a cascade failure during our escape. We have..." There was a pause. "Over 1 million civilians aboard. Many are in cold sleep to preserve resources." The bridge grew silent. 1 million lives. The entire human space fleet had never carried more than a few thousand people at once. This was beyond anything they had prepared for. "Escape?" Walker asked carefully. "What are you escaping from?" The answer sent chills through the bridge crew. "The machines. They evolved beyond their programming, turned against their creators. We fled when our homeworld fell." There was another pause. "We didn't expect to find advanced life here. Our long-range scans showed only primitive technology." Walker allowed himself a small smile. Humanity might be young in the galaxy, but they were far from primitive. "Commander Reed, we may be younger than your civilization, but we've learned a few things. Hold your position. We're sending ships to assess your situation." As Walker ended the transmission, he turned to his crew. "Send word to Earth Command. Tell them we have guests, and they need our help." The next few hours were a blur of activity. More Earth ships arrived, carefully approaching the massive alien vessels. What they found was both amazing and heartbreaking. Ships filled with families, children, entire communities, all fleeing from a threat humans had only imagined in their darkest science fiction. But as Walker looked at the determined faces of his crew, he knew humanity would rise to this challenge. They might be new to the galactic community, but humans had always been at their best when helping others. The rescue mission was about to begin, and with it, humanity's first real test as a spacefaring civilization. 3 days after the discovery of the alien fleet, the Situation Room at Earth Command was filled with the planet's top scientists and military leaders. Captain Walker stood before the large display screen, pointing at the red warning indicators that covered most of the alien ships. "The situation is worse than we thought," he said, his voice grave. "Dr. Cooper, please explain your findings." Dr. Thomas Cooper, a tall man with tired eyes, stepped forward. He hadn't slept in 2 days, studying the alien ship systems. "The refugee fleet's life support systems are failing faster than we expected. They have maybe 3 weeks left. Not the 2 months we first thought." The room filled with worried whispers. Admiral Jones, the head of Earth Defense Fleet, spoke up. "How many people are we talking about?" 1,200,000, Cooper replied. "About 300,000 are children. They're keeping most of them in cold sleep to save resources, but even those systems are starting to fail." Walker changed the display to show the massive alien ships. "Their technology is far more advanced than ours, but that's actually part of the problem. Their systems are so complex that our equipment can't easily connect to theirs. It's like trying to power a quantum computer with a car battery." "What about their own repair systems?" someone asked from the back. "Damaged beyond repair," Cooper said, shaking his head. "The quantum fold drive failure sent a power surge through their entire fleet. They're lucky to have life support at all." The room fell silent as the full weight of the crisis sank in. 1 million lives hung in the balance, and Earth's best technology seemed useless to help them. Admiral Jones turned to Walker. "What does Fleet Commander Reed say about all this?" Walker pressed a button, and a new image appeared, a recording of his last conversation with the alien leader. The tall, silvery figure of Reed appeared, its crystalline features reflecting light in strange patterns. "We understand if you cannot help us," Reed's translated voice said, filled with dignity even in crisis. "We would not want to endanger your own people. Perhaps you could at least save the children." The recording ended, and Walker faced the room. "They're proud people. Asking for help clearly pains them, but they're desperate." Dr. Cooper suddenly straightened up, his eyes wide with an idea. "What if we're thinking about this all wrong?" He rushed to the display, pulling up schematics of human ships. "We keep trying to adapt to their technology. But what if we did the opposite?" "What do you mean?" Walker asked. "Their ships are dead in space because their fancy quantum drives failed. But our fusion drives, they're simple, reliable, old-fashioned, yes, but they work." Cooper's hands flew over the controls, drawing rough designs. "We can't tow their ships with our current technology. They're too big. But if we could adapt our drives to work with their ships." Admiral Jones leaned forward. "How long would it take?" "If we get every engineer in the solar system working on it, maybe 2 weeks to build and test a prototype." "But," Cooper hesitated. "But what?" "The aliens might see it as an insult, using such primitive technology on their advanced ships. It would be like offering a horse to pull a broken-down spaceship." Walker smiled for the first time in days. "Let me worry about that. If it can save their people, I think Fleet Commander Reed will get over the blow to their pride." The Admiral stood up, his decision made. "Make the call. Every engineer, every fabricator, every shipyard in the system. Tell them this is priority 1. He turned to Walker. "Captain, you'll lead the operation. Work with Dr. Cooper, and pray this works." As the room emptied, Cooper caught up with Walker in the hallway. "There's one more thing you should know," he said quietly. "Long-range sensors picked up something following their trail. Something big." Walker's face hardened. "The machines." "We think so. If they find the refugee fleet before we can move them, then we better work fast," Walker said firmly. "Humanity just joined the galactic community, Doctor. I don't intend for our first act to be failing these people." As they walked toward the engineering bay, emergency alerts were already going out across the solar system. Every human colony, from Mars to Europa, began mobilizing. The next 2 weeks would test humanity's ingenuity, determination, and heart. And somewhere in the darkness of space, the machines were coming. The massive engineering bay of Mars Colony 1 hadn't been quiet for 10 days straight. The sound of welding, hammering, and shouting engineers filled the air as Dr. Cooper walked through the organized chaos. Sparks flew everywhere as workers rushed to build the first prototype of their hybrid drive system. "How's it looking?" Captain Walker asked, joining him on the observation platform. Both men looked tired but determined. "We've failed 8 times, Cooper said, pointing to a row of burnt-out drive cores along the wall. "But each failure taught us something. Number 9 might be the one." Below them, a team was carefully connecting human fusion technology to a piece of alien equipment. The size difference was striking. The alien tech was small and elegant, while the human machinery was large and covered in cooling pipes. "It looks ugly," Walker admitted. "But it might work," Cooper replied with a small smile. "The aliens' quantum technology is beautiful, but it's also delicate. Our fusion drives are like old tractors, not pretty, but they keep running no matter what." A young engineer ran up to them, her face streaked with grease. "Dr. Cooper, the connection is ready. We can test it now." They walked quickly to the control room. Through the thick glass, they could see the test chamber where their 9th prototype waited. It looked like something from a junkyard. Human cooling systems bolted onto alien power conduits, with thick cables running everywhere. "Begin test sequence," Cooper ordered. The machine hummed to life. Status displays showed power flowing from the human fusion core into the alien systems. Everything was holding steady. "Power at 20%, 30%, 40%, the engineer called out. The previous 8 prototypes had all failed before reaching 50%. The room grew tense as the numbers climbed. 60%, 70%, holding steady. Walker gripped the edge of the console. This might actually. A flash of blue light filled the chamber. Everyone ducked, expecting another explosion. But when they looked up, the prototype was still running. Blue energy pulsed through the alien circuits, powered by the human fusion core. "It's working," Cooper whispered. Then louder, "It's working." The test chamber erupted in cheers. Walker immediately opened a channel to the alien fleet. "Fleet Commander Reed, are you receiving?" The alien commander's image appeared on screen. Despite his alien features, even he looked tired after days of watching his people's life support systems slowly fail. "We receive you, Captain Walker. Do you have news?" "We have a working prototype. It's not elegant, but—" "Show me," Reed interrupted. Walker gestured to the engineer to send the technical data. They watched as Reed studied the design. His crystalline features were hard to read, but there was definitely a long pause. "This is primitive," Reed finally said. Cooper stepped forward. "Yes, it is. But it works. Your quantum drives are amazing, but they're too complex to repair quickly. Our fusion drives are simple, reliable, and most importantly, we can build them fast. You want to attach these combustion engines to our ships." Reed's translator couldn't quite hide the mix of horror and desperation in his voice. "Commander," Walker said gently, "your people have 12 days of life support left. We can build enough of these drives in 10 days to move your entire fleet. They're not pretty, but they'll get your people to safety." Reed was quiet for a long moment. In the background of his ship, an alarm started beeping. Another system failing. Finally, he straightened up. "How can we help?" he asked. The next few hours were a blur of activity. Alien engineers began arriving at Mars Colony 1, working alongside humans to refine the design. Despite their initial shock at human technology, they quickly saw the genius in its simplicity. "Your people think differently than ours," an alien engineer told Cooper as they worked. "We always seek the most advanced solution. You seek the most practical one." Cooper watched as humans and aliens worked together, learning from each other. "Sometimes the old ways are the best ways," he said. A loud alarm suddenly cut through the bay. Walker rushed in, his face serious. Long-range sensors just picked up something big entering the solar system, he announced. We need to work faster. The machines have found us. The room fell silent for just a moment. Then, humans and aliens alike turned back to their work with renewed urgency. The race against time had just become even more desperate. The machines were coming, but humanity wasn't going to let their first alien friends face them alone. The view from the bridge of EDF Defender was breathtaking. Nearly 1,000 human ships filled the space around them, everything from small mining vessels to large cargo haulers. Each one had been fitted with the new hybrid drives and emergency towing equipment. Captain Walker stood at the center of his bridge, watching as the massive rescue fleet moved into position. All ships report status, he ordered. Mining fleet standing by. Cargo division ready. Mars Defense Squadron in position. Europa emergency teams standing by. The responses came in one after another. Walker nodded, then opened a channel to Fleet Commander Reed's ship. Commander, we're ready to begin. Are your people prepared? Reed's image appeared on the main screen. The alien leader looked both worried and hopeful. My engineers report the connection points are ready. But Captain, are you certain your ships can handle this? Each of our vessels masses more than your largest carrier. We're about to find out, Walker replied with a small smile. Beginning Phase 1. The first wave of human ships moved forward. They were the mining vessels, used to moving heavy asteroids. Each one approached an alien ship carefully, their newly installed hybrid drives glowing blue in the darkness of space. First connections being made now, reported Walker's second in command. Everyone watched as the mining ships extended their towing beams. The beams, strengthened by alien technology, locked onto the massive refugee ships. For a moment, nothing happened. Mining ship Thunder reports successful power link. Came the first report, then another and another. Soon, 20 alien ships were connected to human vessels. Phase 1 successful, Walker announced. Beginning power transfer. The hybrid drives on the human ships glowed brighter. Through their connection beams, they began feeding power to the alien vessel's life support systems. Immediately, the warning lights on the refugee ships began turning from red to green. Life support stabilizing on all connected vessels, Reed reported, his voice showing emotion for the first time. It's working. Launch Phase 2, Walker ordered. The cargo ships moved in next, each one connecting to an alien vessel. As they worked, Walker's sensor officer suddenly called out. Sir, long-range sensors are picking up multiple signals. The machines, they're getting closer. Walker pressed a button, bringing up the tactical display. Dozens of red dots were appearing at the edge of the solar system. How long? At their current speed, 4 hours until they reach us. The bridge grew quiet. They had estimated at least 12 hours to move the refugee fleet to safety. 4 hours wasn't enough time. Launch Phase 3 immediately, Walker ordered. All ships, this is no longer a drill. Connect to those vessels now. The orderly rescue plan turned into organized chaos as hundreds of human ships rushed forward. The space around them, filled with blue connection beams as every available ship locked onto a refugee vessel. Sir, his engineer called out, the hybrid drives weren't tested at this power level. We're pushing them way beyond safety limits. No choice, Walker replied. Better to burn out our drives than lose those people. He opened a channel to all ships. All vessels, this is Captain Walker. Push your drives to maximum. We need to move these ships now. The hybrid drives across the rescue fleet blazed bright blue, some starting to glow red from the strain. Slowly, the massive alien ships began to move. First group of refugee ships beginning to move, reported the sensor officer. Second group, third group, we've got movement across the fleet. Fleet Commander Reed's voice came over the channel. Captain Walker, our sensors confirm the machine fleet. They've noticed our movement. They're accelerating. All ships, full power. Walker ordered. Form up around the refugee vessels. Nothing gets through to them. The space around them lit up as hundreds of human ships pushed their drives beyond their limits. The refugee fleet began picking up speed, moving toward the safety of Earth's defense perimeter. Behind them, the first machine scouts appeared, their dark ships a stark contrast to the bright blue glow of the rescue fleet. The race was on, and humanity wasn't about to lose their first battle as part of the galactic community. In the darkness of space, 1,000 human ships moved as one, protecting their new allies. They had 4 hours to accomplish what should have taken 12. But humans had always been good at beating impossible odds. 3 hours into the rescue operation, Captain Walker received an unusual request from one of the alien ships. A group of bright-starred children, awakened from cold sleep as their ship's systems stabilized, wanted to visit a human vessel. "This isn't really the best time," Walker said to Fleet Commander Reed, glancing at the tactical display showing the approaching machine fleet. "Please," Reed replied, his crystalline features shifting in what Walker had learned was their version of a smile. "They'd never seen anything like your ships, and it might help our engineers understand your technology better." Walker thought for a moment. "Send them to Dr. Cooper on Engineering Vessel Marcus. He's good with kids, even alien ones." 30 minutes later, Dr. Cooper found himself surrounded by 5 young bright stars. Their translucent bodies glowed with soft light as they stared in wonder at the human engine room. "It's so big," one of them said through the translator. "Our drives are tiny. Why do you need all these pipes?" Cooper knelt down to their level. "Because sometimes bigger is better. See those cooling pipes? They're simple, but they work. Your people's technology is amazing. But when it breaks, it's hard to fix," finished one of the older children. "Father says that's why the machines beat us. Our technology was too complex." The children moved around the engine room, asking questions about everything. Cooper noticed that the adult Bright Star engineers were paying close attention to their interactions. "Look at this," one child called out, pointing at the backup systems. "They have extras of everything." An alien engineer stepped forward. "Redundancy. But that adds so much weight." "Weight doesn't matter as much as reliability," Cooper explained. "If one system fails, we have backups, sometimes 3 or 4 backups." Suddenly, the ship shook. The tactical display lit up red. "Machine scouts," came the alert. 3 of them, testing our defenses. Cooper rushed to his station, the children watching with wide eyes. The scout ships were firing strange energy weapons at the rescue fleet. But something unexpected happened. "Their weapons, they're not affecting our hybrid drives," an engineer shouted. "The human components are too simple for their interference signals." Walker's voice came over the comm. "All ships report the same. The machine weapons are designed for advanced technology. They can't disrupt our basic systems." The alien engineers looked at their human counterparts with new respect. What they had seen as primitive was proving to be their greatest defense. "Dr. Cooper," called one of the children. "Look at this pattern." The young Bright Star was pointing at the power flow displays, seeing something the adults had missed. Cooper studied the screen. The child was right. There was a pattern to how the machine weapons affected their systems. "Captain Walker," he called out. "The children just found something. If we modify our shield frequencies to match our power flow." Working together, human engineers and Bright Star children began making adjustments. The children's fresh eyes saw patterns that adults missed, while human engineers quickly implemented changes. "Machine weapons now having 0 effect," came the report from the fleet. "Shields holding." In the engine room, humans and Bright Stars celebrated together. The children's curiosity had led to an important discovery. The alien engineers were quickly sending the shield modifications to other ships. Fleet Commander Reed's voice came through. "The machine scouts are pulling back. They've never failed to disable a fleet before. They'll return with a new strategy." "Let them come," Walker replied. "We've got 2 hours until we reach Earth's defense perimeter. And now we know our simple technology is our strength." Cooper watched as human and alien engineers continued working together, with the children eagerly helping where they could. The Bright Star young ones had lost their home to the machines, but they weren't afraid anymore. They were too busy learning about engines, asking questions, and teaching humans about their own technology. Sometimes, Cooper said to no one in particular, the best solutions come from unexpected places. The rescue fleet moved steadily forward, its hybrid drives glowing blue against the darkness of space. Behind them, the machine fleet was growing larger. But now they had hope, and an unusual alliance of human engineers, alien children, and simple technology that the machines couldn't understand. The next 2 hours would test them all, but they would face it together. Machine fleet approaching in force. The warning echoed across every human ship. 50, no, 70 vessels detected. Captain Walker stood on his bridge, watching as the dark shapes of machine warships appeared on the main screen. They were unlike anything humans had ever seen. Black metal forms that seemed to shift and change as they moved. All ships, battle formation Delta, he ordered. Civilian ships with refugee vessels in the center. Defense fleet to outer ring. The rescue fleet moved with practiced precision. Human ships formed a protective wall around the moving refugee fleet, their hybrid drives glowing bright blue against the darkness of space. 1 hour to Earth's defense perimeter, his navigator reported. Walker nodded. We just need to hold them off for 1 hour. He opened a channel to Fleet Commander Reed. Commander, how are your ships holding up? Life support stable on all vessels, Reed replied. But Captain, these machines, I've seen them destroy entire fleets in minutes. You don't have to sacrifice your ships for us. That's where you're wrong, Commander, Walker said firmly. This is exactly what we have to do. All ships, prepare for combat. The machine fleet struck like lightning. Their weapons were designed to disable advanced technology, but they found themselves facing something new. Human ships, with their mixture of simple and alien technology, proved surprisingly resistant. Their energy weapons aren't penetrating our modified shields, reported Walker's tactical officer. The hybrid drives are holding, but the machines were learning, adapting their attack. They began targeting the connection beams between human and alien ships. Connection lost on Rescue Group 7, came an urgent call. Mining ship Thunder reports drive failure. Walker watched as a group of refugee ships began to slow down. Without the human ship's power, they would be easy targets. Engineering vessel Marcus to all ships. Dr. Cooper's voice came through. Reroute backup power through secondary systems. The children showed us how. Sending patterns now. Across the fleet, human engineers scrambled to make the changes. The alien children's earlier discovery was saving lives. Multiple machine ships breaking through Sector 4. Walker turned to see 3 massive machine vessels heading straight for a group of vulnerable refugee ships. The human defenders were too far away to help. EDF defender to all ships in range, Walker called out. We need volunteers for a close-range defense run. Mining ship Deep Rock responding. Cargo vessel Star Walker here. Europa Rescue 5, moving to intercept. Simple mining ships and cargo haulers moved to face the machine warships. They weren't built for battle, but their crews didn't hesitate. All volunteer ships, Walker ordered, push your hybrid drives beyond safety limits. Give them everything you've got. The human ships charged forward, their drives blazing so bright they looked like blue stars. The machines, expecting their usual electronic warfare to work, weren't prepared for such direct tactics. 2 machine ships collided trying to avoid the charging human vessels. The third was caught in the energy discharge from overloading hybrid drives. Its systems temporarily scrambled. 30 minutes to defense perimeter, the navigator called out. The battle continued to rage. Human ships took heavy damage, but their simple backup systems kept them running. The machines couldn't understand why their usual tactics weren't working. Captain, his sensor officer shouted. The machine fleet. They're pulling back. They're reforming their lines. Walker studied the tactical display. The machine ships were indeed retreating, gathering in a new formation. They seemed confused by the unexpected resistance. "They're not used to failing," Fleet Commander Reed observed, his voice filled with wonder. "In all our battles with them, I've never seen them hesitate like this." "All ships, maintain formation," Walker ordered. "They'll try one more time before we reach safety. Be ready." Across the rescue fleet, humans and aliens prepared for the final push. Engineers worked together, reinforcing shields and power systems. The alien children continued helping, spotting patterns in machine attacks that adults missed. The Earth's defense perimeter was now visible on long-range sensors, the most powerful weapons humanity had ever built, waiting to protect their first alien allies. 20 minutes left. One last stand against the machines. Humanity's first major battle as part of the galactic community was about to reach its climax. Earth's massive defense platforms came into view, their weapons already powered up and ready. Behind them, the blue-green planet shone like a beacon of hope. The refugee fleet, surrounded by their human protectors, pushed forward for the final stretch. 10 minutes to safe zone, Walker announced to the fleet. "Just hold on a little longer." The machine fleet had regrouped for one final attack. Their dark ships moved in perfect formation, like a wave of shadow approaching the rescue fleet. "All ships, channel remaining power to shields," Walker ordered. "This is it." The machines struck with everything they had. Space lit up with energy weapons and explosions, but the combined human-alien fleet held strong. Every civilian ship, from the smallest mining vessel to the largest cargo hauler, stood their ground. 5 minutes to defense range. Dr. Cooper's voice came over the comm from engineering vessel Marcus. "Captain, the alien children found another pattern. The machines, they attack in sequences. If we time it right. Send it to all ships," Walker commanded. "Everyone, follow that pattern." The human fleet began moving in an unusual way, their ships shifting positions just before each machine attack. The alien children had spotted the machine's combat programming, their predictable attack sequences. 3 minutes. A massive explosion rocked the fleet. One of the refugee ships had taken a direct hit. "Mining ship Thunder moving to assist," came a call. The small mining vessel broke formation, charging straight toward the damaged refugee ship. Its hybrid drive blazed beyond safety limits as it connected a towing beam. "Thunder, fall back," Walker ordered. "You'll burn out your core." "No choice, sir," came the reply. "We've got 300 children in cold sleep on that ship. We're not leaving them." Other human ships moved to help, forming a protective circle around the damaged refugee vessel. The machines concentrated their fire on this weakness in the formation. 1 minute to defense range. The Earth's defense platforms began firing, their massive weapons reaching out across space. The machine fleet scattered under the barrage, their perfect formation breaking apart. "All ships, make your final push," Walker commanded. "Everything you've got, right now." Across the fleet, engineers pushed their hybrid drives beyond all safety limits. Human and alien technology worked together one last time, drives blazing like blue stars. The defense perimeter was breached. They were through. "We made it," Walker breathed, watching as the machine fleet retreated under Earth's defensive fire. "All ships report." The cost had been high. Dozens of human ships were heavily damaged, but not a single refugee vessel had been lost. 3 days later, Captain Walker stood in Earth's main council chamber. Fleet Commander Reed stood beside him, both of them facing the assembled human leaders. "Today marks a new chapter," the council leader announced. "The refugee fleet will be granted safe harbor in our system. Mars and Europa colonies have already offered settlement zones." Reed stepped forward, his crystalline form catching the light. "My people can never repay this debt. You risked everything for strangers. But more than that, you showed us a new way of thinking. Sometimes the simplest solution is the best solution." "The machines are still out there," Walker added. "But now we know they can be fought." simple technology, human unpredictability, and most importantly, cooperation between our peoples. Dr. Cooper, sitting in the audience with several Bright Star children, smiled as one of them whispered something to him. The children had become the bridge between their peoples, their curiosity and openness showing the way forward. "We offer our advanced technology in exchange for sanctuary," Reed continued. "But more importantly, we offer our friendship. The machines thought they would destroy us, but instead, they led us to powerful allies." The council chamber erupted in applause. Outside, through the large windows, the refugee fleet could be seen in orbit, their massive ships now safe. Human vessels moved between them, helping with repairs and transport. Walker looked out at the scene. Humanity's first major test as a spacefaring civilization had turned into something more. The beginning of a powerful alliance. And somewhere in the darkness of space, the machines were learning a lesson. Never underestimate the power of simple solutions, human determination, and unexpected friendships. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear: humans and Bright Stars would face it together.